Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Miko, this is Kalila, and today we're actually going to go over our ideal cast or fan cast for the for what we think the MCU should do if once they get their hands on the X-Men and who we think that they should probably put in their very first X-Men movie. So Kalila's going to go first. We definitely picked our list kind of more so just off of like who we personally think. We kind of have an idea of who each other picked, but it doesn't mean we necessarily know who these people are, especially more so for my list than for hers. But yeah, we're gonna start off there and see what we got.
All right, so I picked Professor X for my first one. Patrick Stewart, of course. I don't think he could be replaced. And if he died, like I don't even know who they could replace him with, honestly. And then Jean Grey. I actually picked two people. I picked either Jessica Chastain, who, if you watch Huntsman or Zero Dark 30, she's from there. If they're trying to go for an older vibe, but if they're trying to go like the younger route, I think Anna Kendrick would be a good pick. And then for Cyclops, I picked Ian Somerhalder. For those of you that don't know who that is, he's from Vampire Diaries. He's the not evil brother, but he's the bad brother, Damon. So I feel like he would be a good douchebaggy type character to play Cyclops. So my next pick is Storm. And for Storm, I picked Kerry Washington. Although, I don't know, she could be too big to play Storm, but I feel like she would be a really good Storm.
Not big as in like weight-wise.
Yeah, no,
like,
big as in like big star. Like Kerry Washington she's huge as a star. Not weight. And then for Beast, I want him to be in the movie, but I just couldn't think of anybody to play Beast. I mean, I think Kelsey Grammer did a really good job, and I just can't see anybody else playing Beast, but he's too old. So they do need to replace him. I can't figure out who would play him best. So maybe if you guys have a pick, comment below, because I couldn't pick anybody. I really couldn't. And then for Wolverine, honestly, there's not going to be another Hugh Jackman for me. That's my Wolverine. I don't think he can be replaced. But if he won't do the movie, I can't make him do the movie, obviously. If he won't do the movie, I think Anson Mount would be a good Wolverine. And he's from... What is that show?
He's from Hell on Wheels.
Hell on Wheels, yes.
And he's also currently playing Black Bolt on Marvel's Inhumans.
Which we have not started watching yet, but we will.
Yeah.
And I did not know he was in that show when I picked him for my list, but if they can somehow figure that out.
Well, I guess it would really depend on the success of Inhumans. Like if Inhumans is doing well, then they're not gonna bother doing it. But if Inhumans, since we haven't watched it, I don't know how good or how bad it is.
Let us know how good or bad it is in the comments so we know if we need to watch it or not.
We'll probably watch it just to, I don't know, because I think, that's for another thing, but I think some things, like some people say are really bad, and then you watch it and you're like, well, this isn't so bad.
That's true.
You know, there are worse things on TV, so there's a good chance that it's maybe not that bad. I think a lot of people, like, quick rant, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Lord.
A lot of people say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't that great.
No, it's...
And it's really good. So...
Have you guys seen this season? Holy moly! Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Alright.
Okay. I'm on Wolverine. Okay, and so my last pick is Rogue, and I picked Zoe Kravitz. I know she was in First Class. Who did she play again?
She played... I can't remember her... I think her name... Well, the name of her character was Angels Salvador or whatever.
There we go. And I thought she played her really well. And I feel like she would be a really good Rogue. I don't, since they're rebooting it, hopefully, I think even though she was in First Class, they can just, replace her.
I could see them do some interesting things with her because Zoe Kravitz is a lot like her dad. Like, you take away the piercings and different things with her hair, and you completely forget it's Zoe Kravitz.
Exactly.
Like, same thing with her dad.
She's a very good actress.
Yeah, like she'll be in stuff. You'll be like, that's Zoe Kravitz. Mm-hmm. Same thing with her dad. Like Lenny Kravitz will be in stuff, and you will have no idea it was him until the credits roll.
I know they're both really good actors. So those are my picks.
I think your list is okay. I don't hate it.
Okay, he doesn't hate it.
I think the only one I have like a real, I mean, not a real problem with is
You have a problem with one of my picks? Excuse me?
Patrick Stewart.
You can't replace Professor X. What in the world?
But you can't keep him either.
But he could be 99 years old and he could still be Professor X.
I mean,
that's like the only character in
you're saying
X-Men that he could still be old and it would be okay.
You're saying that because he's bald, though.
Not just because he's bald, but because he's Professor X. I mean, but
if there was another actor that was out there that was bald like that, you would easily be like, oh yeah, he could play Professor X.
No, I'm not that shallow.
Like I didn't think James McAvoy would be a good Professor X until he was in First Class, and then they shaved his hair, and I was like, oh yeah, he definitely fits this role. But yeah, overall, I think you have a pretty good list. So now we're gonna get into my list. So to start things off, I'm going to start with Jean Grey. And for Jean Grey, I have Lily Collins. Lily Collins has actually been in a lot more things than I realized she was in. Like, as I started kind of looking up her IMDb, I was like, oh, I've seen her in this, and I've seen her in this. Like, when I first picked her, I really did pick her strictly off the look. Like, I'm like, oh, she looks like she could be Jean Grey. And then I looked at her IMDb and I was like, oh, she's been in The Blind Side, and she's been in Abduction, and she's been in Priest. She's been in a lot of stuff. She's been nominated for a Golden Globe, so you know she has like the acting chops to kind of really deliver a good performance. So I'm down with Lily Collins. I think she's like the perfect like in the middle. Like she's like if they wanted to make her look young, they could make her look young. If they wanted her make her look more mature and like, you know, like upper 20s, lower 30s, they could definitely pull that off too.
That is important though, because Jean Grey, you can go either way.
Right. And another thing is, I think if you look at Lily Collins has is like the perfect mix of like, she's attractive enough to where she could, you know, be that attractive counterpart to Scott Summers.
Going there, everyone?
Hold on. And she also has that, like, if they wanted to take that Dark Phoenix route eventually, it's not going to be that drastic. Like, they could just make her look a little evil without making her look psycho, like they did with Famke Janssen.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, her name is really hard.
Yes,
but from the last X-Men Last Stand, like when they made Jean Grey Dark Phoenix, she looked demonic. And it, like, I mean, that was just one of the many things wrong with that film. But I digress. Next on my list, I have Storm. And so Storm, I'm actually keeping Alexandra Shipp from X-Men Apocalypse. After watching that movie recently, she's probably the only person out of that cast that I really wanted to keep.
I agree.
I wanted to keep Sophie Turner,
but
she was so not relevant. Like, she was so quiet as Jean Grey that I was just like, nah, I could recast you and not miss anything. And which, like, hurt me to say because I love Sophie Turner in Game of Thrones. Like, she's amazing in Game of Thrones.
I don't watch that.
But she just didn't wow me enough. Now, granted, I'm allowed to change my mind if Dark Phoenix comes out and she's amazing in that. But right now,
we'll see.
Yeah, right now, Alexandra Shipp is the only person that I'm keeping from that cast.
And I liked her as well.
Yeah, I think she's, you know, she had the accent down. I think she's not too big of an actress to where she takes away from the movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think she delivered a really good performance in that movie.
Right.
Next, I have Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, and I'm going with Alexander Ludwig. So Alexander Ludwig, for some of you who don't know, he's actually been in the first thing that he was ever in that a lot of you people have probably seen him in is Hunger Games. He was like, as far as like the participants in the Hunger Games, he was like the dude that was kind of like the biggest threat, and I think he ended up like dying at the end. He's like the last one to die other than Jennifer Lawrence and whatever the other dude's name is.
Gosh,
I forget his.
Peta. Whatever his real name is.
But we're not good with actor names. Sorry. But so far he's been in Vikings the last couple years, since I think season 2 of Vikings, and I actually just started watching Vikings recently. Because I was already interested in Vikings, but I heard that he was in it, and he's been delivering a really good performance. So after watching a couple of YouTube clips of his character, he is really good. Like, his character is somebody who's in a leadership role, who's kind of taking charge and commanding his own troops in this show, and he delivers that role really, really well. And once again, he's the perfect age where he's like, they can make him look mature so he can be this older Scott Summers, or if they wanted to go the younger route, he's young enough to do that as well.
Right.
And once again, one thing that I want to like Scott Summers. Like, I get that he's typically like the douchebag
about this.
but like, even if you are the douchebag, like I want you to be like the likable douchebag, not just like oh, everybody hates Scott Summers. Like, that was the big thing with X-Men. Like, every time I saw Scott Summers, I'm just like, dude, I hate him. Like, he came across as the privileged kid.
Right.
And so I think Alexander Ludwig could go maybe a better direction with that character. Okay. Next is a character that you did pick as well, and that's Beast. And so I'm casting Beast, but really what I'm casting is Hank McCoy. And I actually had 2 choices, and I went with my second choice, which is Riley Dolman. Riley Dolman is I first became aware of Riley Dolman in the Netflix show The Travelers. And he is a really good actor in that show. He plays basically the brains of his team in that show. And he's this really good mix of, he has which is what Hank McCoy is. He has this great mix of intelligence and bravery, and he kind of really depicts that well on this show. And one of the other reasons I went with Riley Dolman over my first choice, which was Kellen Lutz. He is from the Twilight.
I like that pick. Okay.
I was going to go with him, but then I remember that I'd already picked Alexander Ludwig, and I'm like, I don't need too many pretty people.
But I actually like your first pick better.
I went back and forth. I could deal with either one. I just think
I get the maybe for the brainier side. I think.
Yeah, because I think Kellen Lutz has the body to be Beast.
Right.
Like, physically, like, he could be Beast. And Riley Dolman, I think if he put on a little bit of muscle, he could have the same type of body mass to play Beast. Right. Because my biggest thing is I don't want Blue Beast right away. I want, like the original X-Men, how it started, where Hank McCoy was just, he had really large hands. He had, like, really large feet that were almost like ape-like feet. And that's why they called him Beast. It wasn't because he turned blue. Like, he was Beast way before he ever turned blue.
Exactly.
So either character I would be fine, whether Kellen Lutz or Riley Dolman. I think either one would play that role really, really well. Okay. My next choice is Bobby Drake, aka Iceman, and I think you're really gonna like this pick. I picked Dylan O'Brien from Teen Wolf, and he's also been in Maze Runner. He's the main character in that series. He was the leading role in American Assassin. Dylan O'Brien has, ever since he was on Teen Wolf, has kind of just seen his stock slowly rising. I don't know how American Assassin was received. It wasn't the greatest film.
Did we see that?
We did see that.
Why don't I remember seeing that?
Because it wasn't a great movie. Sorry.
That would be why I didn't remember. I mean, I love Dylan, but yeah.
It's not a great movie. His performance is good.
Oh, that's the one we just saw.
Yeah.
Okay.
His performance is good, but the movie is not great.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I think he would make a great Bobby Drake. Simply because when I think of Iceman, I think of comedic relief. Like, he's my comedic relief character. And the cool thing about Iceman, if you read some of the comics, is that Bobby Drake is like immature. He's the immature X-Men. He is probably, I mean, if you started ranking the X-Men as far as mutant powers, he's probably one of the stronger mutants. But he's so immature, and I love it about his character. I mean, granted, they have taken his character in a different direction in the new couple years, but he's still pretty immature. And if you've ever seen Teen Wolf, if you ever watched Dylan O'Brien in Teen Wolf, that's who Styles is. Styles is sarcastic, he's immature, but he's smart. Like he downplays his better attributes just to kind of get on people's nerves. And I think Dylan O'Brien fits that perfectly. Once again, same thing with all the other characters. He's at that perfect age, you know.
True.
And me personally, I would want Iceman to be one of the younger members of the team. Somebody who probably doesn't take like a lot of the responsibility so serious. So that's who I'm going with for my Iceman, and that's my 5 core members of the X-Men. Now to lead the X-Men, I did recast Professor Xavier. Not because I don't like Patrick Stewart, not because I don't like James McAvoy, because honestly, I could see James McAvoy still play.
Yeah.
I just think he is too young.
He's too young. Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to see them like do weird prosthetics where they try and age him. You know, so I would rather just find somebody who's slightly aged, but not so old where I'm forced to have an old Magneto too. Like, I don't want old Magneto. They've explained it in the comics. I don't care what explanation you use for Magneto still being young. Just take one and run with it, because I don't want young Magneto, but Xavier can be kind of old, you know? And so for that, I picked Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis is probably one of the great actors in Hollywood. He's won 3 Oscars. You know, one of the most recent movies I think that we saw him in, at least that we remember, is Lincoln.
Well, that's not really recent, but
that's not really that recent.
The last one we saw.
But Daniel Day-Lewis is known for doing his research in his characters. Like, it's one of his weird quirks where like he gets like I'm sure if they cast Daniel Day-Lewis as Xavier, he's gonna go find a wheelchair, he's gonna shave his head automatically, and he's probably gonna find some kids that are a little special, and he's gonna adopt them and just be like completely submerged in this role. Like, he'll read every comic book he probably can, and I think he would provide the perfect, most authentic version since Patrick Stewart of Charles Xavier. Once again, not saying that James McAvoy did a bad job. I think he's done a really good job.
He did a really good job. If
So,
he was older, I think we would probably both keep him.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think even when they shaved his head in Apocalypse, like, you're like, oh, okay, I can see where, all right. It's just he's too young. He's way too young, and to be with the cast that I have, it would just be awkward, because then you have to explain why he looks so young, even though he's been around since World War II.
Exactly.
Once again, you can explain it with Magneto. It's in the comic books.
Right.
I have yet to find an explanation for Xavier. Well, I have. They're stupid though.
Oh well, I haven't heard these, but we won't rant.
And then I picked a villain for mine, because I kind of, in our very first video, I kind of pitched what I would have the X-Men's first conflict being, and I picked Shadow King. So I picked Michael Kenneth Williams as the actor to portray the main vessel that Shadow King possessed, because Shadow King is more CGI, probably, if they were to ever try and do the actual, because he's more like he's a mutant, but he possesses people's minds and bodies.
Right.
So I think the main host, though, should be somebody who kind of communicates mischief and has like doesn't have to look evil, but just looks conniving and manipulative. And Michael Kenneth Williams screams that to me. Like, every time I've seen him in things, he's been in RoboCop, he's been in 12 Years a Slave, he's been in a couple like different gangster movies. Like, he just looks intimidating, but not like he's going to kill you, but like he would just put stuff in motion to get you killed.
I'm pretty sure he'd appreciate you saying that about him.
I think that's why he keeps getting cast. So that's who I would pick. I think Michael Kenneth Williams is a good fit for Shadow King. So yeah, that's my list.
I mean, I guess I'm all right with some of yours, but that Professor X thing.
That's the only one that you really have a problem with?
That's the one I really have beef with, because I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis, he's a very, very good actor, but
3 Oscars, like, you can't argue with 3 Oscars.
I don't care about the Oscars. I care about the fact that
that's
Patrick Stewart is
that's 3 more than Patrick
literally
Stewart has.
I don't care.
I'm just saying,
he is Captain Picard.
And that's what we should always remember him for.
My mom is a Trekkie, so that's not me, that's my mom. So yes, I've seen all the Star Trek episodes, but that had nothing to do with my love for Star Trek. But that's the only one I have beef with is Professor X. I don't think no.
I'll do this just really quick, just because you cast this person. I don't plan on having Wolverine like in the main movie. Maybe he can be in like in the end credits. If I'm going to recast, Wolverine, and I will continue to beat this drum, even probably until after they pick somebody else. I want Tom Hardy as Wolverine.
He keeps talking
I
about
get
this.
it. They cast him as Venom already.
You can't do it. They already
Yes, you
cast
can.
him.
Yes, you can, because they've done it already with Josh Brolin, where he's playing Cable and Thanos. I can have Tom Hardy
that's
play
true.
Venom and Wolverine in 2 separate franchises.
All right. He
So
has spoken.
That's my bonus character, Wolverine,
Okay.
Tom Hardy.
But nobody replaces
Nobody.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Hugh Jackman.
So if
made
you would
that
come
character
back,
who he
Hugh
is.
Jackman, if you would just come back, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, he's not doing it for the X-Men though.
I know.
I'll do it like if you give me one Avengers movie with him in it, I'll take it. So yeah, that's our cast. We'll make sure to have our list in the description so that you guys can kind of, get an idea of who we picked, and let us know what you think of our list. Let us know who you would pick and who you would put in these movies, and we'll see, if we agree, if we disagree. We would love to have your feedback.
Right.
And we're always really good about commenting back, and we'll definitely give you feedback on what we think of your list.
Oh, yes.
And like always, make sure to
Like, comment, share, subscribe. We're also going to do another video a little later of who we think should be cast in Fantastic Four.
yes. But our next video after this one is actually going to be we're gonna kind of. There's a lot of good movies coming out next year.
A lot.
And there's also some that I'm not. There's also some quote unquote potentially good movies that I'm not excited about at all. And so we're gonna probably pick a couple that we're really excited about, that we know we're probably gonna spend our money on, and then others that we're probably gonna spend our money on and regret spending our money on.
Right. Exactly.
So look forward to that. And like Kalila said, make sure to
Like, comment, share, subscribe. And thank you to our new subscribers. We appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually gonna get that on a shirt or something, like the whole.
Yeah, so you can remember.
Yeah.
Everybody say like, comment, share, subscribe, because he can't remember.
But no, we appreciate you guys. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you next time.